Good morning, everybody. Welcome to October. Today's October 1st. So, I want to cover today is going to be kind of a hodgepodge of information. I've got some things I wanted to cover. But as of today, in the Model Y, we have 8,714 miles on it. So, we got it June 27th, I think. So, a little over 3 months. 8,700 miles, and it's, I would expect it to be perfect. I do have a road rash on the rim. Both my wife and me got too close in a drive-through on separate occasions. On our front rim now I have some road rash, so it's broken in. We never really gave it much thought, other than my wife was very upset when she did it. We're both upset. So I need to get some ideas, see if we can get that fixed or get it repaired. That'd be nice if that guy in the truck had a muffler. Anyway, we're at the doctor's office this morning. My wife has an appointment. She's got bad sinus infection, so this was the earliest we could get her in. So while we were here, I thought I would just make a quick video, and it may not be quick, but to go over some things that have been kind of building up that I was going to do a video on this and going to do a video on that and going to do a video on this and that. I never got any of them done. We got busy with grandkids. We've just been running a lot lately. So back to the Model Y. I don't know how. There's no complaints from people. When I watch now, I see people say road trips are boring. They're so simple. The navigation, for those that don't know, if you put a location in from your house, like in the navigation, like Sanibel Island, Florida, it tells you where to stop and for how long to stop to charge. 10 minutes here, 12 minutes there. 22 minutes here if you got a long distance to go. And so every couple hours we stop, we charge. But the people now, that electric vehicles road tripping was a dream years ago. Like, oh, can we make it? Is it possible? I don't know. It's scary. Now, every time I watch somebody doing a Tesla road trip, they're like, this is so boring. It's so simple. If you just follow the Tesla navigation, it tells you where to stop. And then about 10 minutes before you get there, it will come on and warm up the battery or cool down the battery. It will have the battery set at the perfect temperature to accept a charge. Those of you that drive a Tesla already know this. And so when you get out and you plug it in and walk away, that's all you do. You don't put in a zip code. You don't swipe a card. You don't do any of that stuff. You just basically plug it in, and by the time you go in, go to the restroom, and if you need to grab a snack or something, normally you're being notified that you have enough charge to go to your next, because it only wants you to charge for so long. You don't need to sit there more than 10, 15 minutes. If you need to charge deep into the pack, sometimes it's 22 minutes, 23. I think one time we had a 25-minute charge, but well, especially if you're going to stop somewhere and eat lunch or something like that, that's the time to hit that one. But it's we're going to go to Florida next month, and I will videotape that road trip, but I'm expecting it to be extremely boring. Extremely boring. So, but a couple weeks ago, I was in Morton, Illinois, and I'll add a video here, a little clip to show you. I saw a truck, a van that was on the back of a truck to be delivered, and it said Mavco, I think it said. We'll have to look into it and see. But it's a Rivian. Rivian produces the van in Normal, Illinois, and it looked basically like an Amazon van, but I think it said Mevco, and it's a mining company when I tried to do research on it, and they're making vans for them now as well. So something electric vehicle company or mining electric vehicle company or something. So they, it was just neat to see on the back of a truck getting ready to be delivered. So I'll pop that clip in here. Just stand by. That's awesome right there. Powered by Rivian. That is cool. Great job, Rivian. About to be delivered. Think of that. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, that was just kind of one of those neat things, Mevco. I hadn't seen anything like that before. I didn't actually know Rivian was making extra stuff besides Rivian, besides Amazon vans and then all of their vehicles. So that's kind of cool. Also, step 2, the Bolt turned over 40,000 miles last week. I haven't been driving it a lot. We just had a lot going on where we're together. We go to soccer games. I have 2 grandsons that are playing soccer. We're a lot of times we're together and we're in the Model Y. And so I don't get to drive it as much. I haven't been driving Uber a lot. So it's just one of those things that I'm driving it as much as I can. I'm going to try to get some Uber driving in next couple weeks and then go from there. Ooh, nice Corvette driving by. Ooh, very nice. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do that, but I'll plug in that video now of us turning over 40,000 miles. And I also have a video of, and it's really dirty. The screen's really dirty. Pay no attention to the dirt in the Bolt. As you may or may not know, for every 33.7 kilowatts of energy that you use, that's equal to 1 gallon of gas. So I wasn't getting that good a gas mileage, and I think it's like 152 miles per gallon I got when I just happened to be looked down one time and see that I was up to 33.6, coming up at 33.7. So basically, where the average person drives 23 to 28 miles on a gallon of gas, I drive anywhere from 150 to 175, 180 miles on the equivalent of 1 gallon of gas. So check out those videos and I'll get back with you. Well, first 40,000 miles, 0 issues. Pretty happy. Stay safe. Seems kind of funny sitting in my Model Y talking about my Chevy Bolt, but when you're an all-electric family, you know, that's what we do. So, yeah, 40,000, no issues on it. Tires are still good. Have nothing to even talk about. I do hear a noise, and I'll tell you this, that I'm starting to hear. I think it's a hub that might be going bad, but that's a typical General Motors thing. I mean, I wouldn't have thought at 40,000 miles. It may be nothing. I'm going to keep an eye on it for the next 6 months and just see if the noise, it's got a little bit of a hub type of a noise as you're driving down the highway. Keep an eye on it. We'll see where it goes. But right now it's running great. Doing well. So that brings me to my third part of this video that I wanted to get done. A couple weeks ago, I took my sister's pickup truck, a muffler, ahead of the muffler and behind a resonator. There were 2 pipes that they kind of flanged together. They had rusted apart. Now, my sister drives an old Toyota Tacoma pickup truck that I gave her a few years ago, I guess now. 3 years ago, probably at least 3 years ago. It's a 2005 Toyota Tacoma, 2.7 liter 4-cylinder. Okay, great engine. Doesn't use any oil, runs like a charm. And anyway, this muffler rusted apart, And I tried to flange it back together. I tried to do some things. I couldn't do it. So I called a local shop who said, you know what, bring it in. We'll cut that pipe out, and we'll weld in a new pipe. We'll fix it. So I took it over there, had it done. That was in Morton, Illinois also. Had that done, and I was driving it back home to her, and I happened to just look down at the mileage on that car. 311,198. So it turned over 311,200 on the way back to her house. Now, again, the steering is not the best on it. It's a little bit loose. The brakes need to be looked at. They're a little spongy. So as soon as we have some opportunity to get those looked at, we'll probably do that. But 311,000. And that brings me to my final point. As I'm finding out in my videos, off topic, I love gas cars. I love to watch mechanics work on cars and fix cars. I have several that I'm subscribed to that I'm like, when they get a car in and they're going to be like, okay, we're going to work on this and diagnose and sort this out and figure it out. I love watching videos like that. That's great. I am not a person who's like, everybody needs to own an electric car. They're the greatest things in the world. No, people have to own what they want to own. Okay? So the reason I bring that up is I see on the internet a lot of people who have electric cars who say, you know what? I also own an internal combustion and a gas car. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong. But the opposite is true. A lot of times I'll have comments in there from some troll who's like, electric cars are horrible. I saw on whatever, some weird page, electric cars are the death of our country. Electric cars, okay, just relax. If you don't want an electric car, don't buy one. Okay? They're going to continue to make gas cars until you can't drive anymore anyway. So just, the government is not forcing you to buy an electric car. That's a myth also. All of these companies, even Volvo, who 5 years ago said after 2030, we're going to stop making gas cars. Even they've relinquished on that and said, well, after 2035, maybe half of our cars will be electrified of some type. So they're going to have hybrid cars. There's going to be gas cars around for the next 50 years. Okay, just relax, take some meds, calm down. Okay? But I love gas cars. I love to watch people work on gas cars. I think that's fascinating. I work on cars. I change oil in my kids' cars. I do brakes. I like working on cars too. There's nothing wrong with that. But having electric cars now for a year and a half, I've had my Bolt for over a year and a half. There's nothing personally, nothing that compares. That's why we went to a Model Y as our second car. And we got rid of our gas cars. I love it. If you use your own God-given talents of reading or talking to people who have electric cars, you'll find out a lot different than what you see. I just saw an article again the other day on Yahoo Finance about how it's twice as expensive to own an electric car as it is a gas car. And I'm thinking, is this like big oil that's pumping out all these fake stories? They're scared to death that people won't need oil changes anymore and they won't have to buy gasoline ever again. And I'm not sure what all, these are all false. They had like 6 reasons. And I was going through them going, and I don't have that article up in front of me, but it was a Yahoo Finance I saw on Google Reports. And I'm like, every time I see one of those, I'm thinking, I'll read it to see if there's any validity at all. Any. Nope, none. Not a one. They talked about how, I think it was that article. Half of people that own electric cars are going back to gas cars. They just can't do it anymore. I don't know if they stood outside of a gas car factory and asked 3 people, or I don't know what they didn't have any facts together. You talk to anybody that owns an electric car, and I will bet you, well, especially a Tesla, probably 99% of them will say, I will never go back to a gas car, ever. But they cited things on one of these articles I read about, well, if you can't charge at your apartment and you have no charging available, people are going back to gas cars. Well, yeah. I mean, if you live in the woods and you don't have electricity and you don't have a place to plug in your car, why would you ever buy an electric car? That just seems strange to me. One of them was like, oh, the infrastructure is miserable and horrible. And I will say, if you are a CCS1 car, like the Chevy Bolt, which now has access to the Tesla supercharging network, which that becomes a moot point also. Those CCS networks, and you can go back and check on some of my videos when we rode this road trip, our Bolt to Florida, 1,250 miles each way. The CCS network is not good. Not good. They're broken. There's very few of them. Sometimes we had to wait. I didn't like it at all. But once we had the Tesla charging network, which is phenomenal. I mean, it's everywhere. Yeah, so check this out, guys. A 2005 Toyota Tacoma, 2.7 liter 4-cylinder. This is my sister's truck. 311,198 miles. Cannot believe this thing is still running. Has lots of issues, brakes, steering, stuff that needs attention, but can't believe it's still running. But yeah, once we had the supercharging network, that was a non-issue. It's everywhere. You just, like I said, it's boring to go places. And I'll show you that next month we go to Florida. My assumption is it basically will be a boring drive, which we love to drive anyway. But some of these articles I read are like, well, people are believing them because they're putting out false narratives. And I'm like, I guess you can make statistics any way you want them to go. If you're trying to come up with some false story, you can make I don't want to call it a hint of truth, but maybe there was a hint of the truth. Maybe that is it. I don't know. So I just want people to use common sense, do good research, okay? And listen to people that are driving a car. I'll guarantee you, if I had a car that I didn't like, I would be the first to tell you this car is horrible, miserable. I'm not driving one again. I'm getting rid of it. I've had a couple of those cars in my lifetime, and I didn't have a YouTube channel back then to go out and tell people this is junk. Don't ever buy this piece of crap again. But now, like I said, currently, I'm extremely happy with both of our cars. Now, again, I've said this over and over, even for the last year and a half, it's still early, okay? I only have 40,000 miles on the Bolt, and I only got 8,714 on the Model Y. So, yeah, are we coming up on 50,000 miles of electric vehicles driven? Yeah. But that needs to be 300,000, on the two cars. 150 here, 150 there, 200 here, 200. Then we need to get to that point and say, yeah, I don't know, I needed to do something, or it was bad, or whatever. I'll let you know. But as of right now, a year and a half in on the Bolt, and I don't know, 3.5 months on the Model Y, all's good. All's good. Okay. So sorry for kind of a hodgepodge video, but I had some opportunity today to sit back and kind of just put this all, that I was wanting to do several of these videos, and I had this opportunity. So I kind of just put them all together into one video. So again, comment below if you have any comments about anything I've said. But like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more content. Appreciate it. Everybody, stay safe and God bless.